I'd love actually.
Would you?
I'd love actually.
I've just become very not hip and cool by saying, that's very hip and cool, Kay. So, I will tell you what the song is, Kay. Are you ready?
Yes.
We're no strangers to gloves.
10 metres. Lovely yarn.
So she used the car, got down to the end of the car, let go of the car and fell over.
She pronounced Ricky in a very strange way.
Ricky. So give a short synopsis. Okay.
Right, well,
I'd much prefer something to get my teeth into.
quite handy really.
You can lose yourself in a garment in so many ways.
Yeah.
And with careful editing, there should be no sneezing, nose blowing or coughing.
Yeah.
She went down like an absolute sack of spuds.
Good.
Oh,
It could be.
that could change the whole thing.
Yeah.
I have my
yeah.
Christmas shirt on. Welcome to episode 89, and it couldn't be any more Christmassy than this. Oh yes.
Could it not?
No.
Right.
Kay was limiting her speaking on said opening because we tempted fate last episode by talking about seasonal illnesses.
What do you think happened?
She got a seasonal illness, another seasonal illness, because she'd already had the cold sore.
I know.
And then that became the cold.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I've still got it, but I feel better today than I have the past few days. So.
And with careful editing, there should be no sneezing, nose blowing, or coughing.
Isn't he mean to me?
I'm not mean to you at all. I'm mean to myself because I've set out my stall now.
Colds are so gross, aren't they? They truly are gross. And you feel so rotten. And, you know, I've been checking my temperature. I haven't had a temperature, so it's clearly just a viral thing. And you just think, how can I feel this bad and it not be something other than just a cold?
It is rubbish.
Yeah.
But it truly couldn't be any more Christmassy than this. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas, everybody. Last podcast before Christmas.
You wrapped it up and sent it with a note saying, I love you, I meant it. I got the words wrong. Do you know what? I'm not that fond of that song, but more about that later. Because in this extra special show, yes, I have my Christmas shirt on. Look what Kay's wearing.
Da, da, da.
This was supposed to be my Christmas gift to her this year, but it was ready so early. She had to wear it, did she not?
Wear it tonight.
Oh yes, and it fits lovely. It's mesmerising, isn't it?
And it's nice, lovely and long. And look, I'll try and... Can you see the back?
Lots of cables down the back. They're the best ones, I think, actually.
Lovely.
And I'm so glad that I did the shaping. It's made all the difference.
Those 2 stitches that he added in, yeah, made a huge difference. It fits lovely, it feels lovely on, it's comfortable, it's warm, which is great today because it's freezing.
So what do we have in store for you today? Well, as Kay said, it is our last episode before Christmas. Our seasonal special is actually coming between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
But today, we're jam-packed with festive fun and games.
We are.
Because we have a Christmas special bucket list.
Yeah.
We have the return of Desert Island Discs, where Kay and I will be picking our 2 favourite Christmas songs to finish off our top 10. And also we have all the usual lovely, yes, look at this. The world was just not the same place until I cast on a garment. I think
he's much happier now.
It has become official. I am most definitely a garment knitter. It just feels wrong.
Fine by me.
It felt wrong not to have a garment.
It's quite handy, really.
You can lose yourself in a garment in so many ways.
Yeah.
Because once when this was getting towards the end, I felt lost under it. And because there's so many stitches and because it feels like such a big... Sometimes it's nice to have... Don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying the socks and I've made a lot of progress on the socks and I've got a lot to talk about on one of the pairs of socks, haven't I?
Oh, gosh.
Getting that sort to go.
Never has a person been more excited about this thing. It's hilarious.
But I think what's nice about a big project is there's a comfort in knowing I'm not going to be finishing this soon. Do you get what I mean?
No.
I like that. that.
I'm the opposite. I like things finished.
Do you know what?
To get things finished. But everybody's different, and this is the great thing, isn't it? That we're like yin and yang, really.
Don't get me wrong, I do like the odd project or two which is going to be finished quickly, but I'd much prefer something to get my teeth into.
Indeed.
We are slap bang in the middle of our advent calendar.
We are.
We've been having such an adventure. It's unbelievable. We've been having taste tests, and actually someone asked, what's in a Christmas pudding? We just did a Christmas pudding taste test just the other day.
There's people out there that have never had a Christmas pudding.
Well, someone asked, what's in a Christmas pudding?
Good heavens.
So give a short synopsis. Okay.
Right, well, you've obviously got the normal flour, butter, sugar, normal kind of sponge cake ingredients, but then it's basically lots and lots of different dried fruits. So you have sultanas, raisins, currants, cherries sometimes. This is where the variations come in, really. Everybody's recipes are different, and people have like family recipes. Nuts go in there as well. Sometimes people don't put nuts in. I like nuts in a Christmas cake because they have that bit of crunch.
Absolutely.
Spices, so like your normal Christmas spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, that kind of thing. You usually put dark sugar in it because that gives the colour and adds a sort of caramelly, treacly sort of taste to it. And then some sort of alcohol, usually brandy, I think is the most common, isn't it, to put in.
But what was interesting on the 3 Christmas puddings that we tried, we won't go into too much detail because some of you might not yet have seen it, some podcast patrons might not have seen it, but there was differences in the alcohol. Some people had put in like cider, hadn't they?
Yeah. In a Christmas pudding. A Christmas pudding really has kind of the same ingredients as a Christmas cake.
Right. But it's cooked a different way.
But it's cooked in a different way. You steam a Christmas pudding.
And do you know what?
It shouldn't be spongy.
One of them was.
One of them was, yeah. It shouldn't be like a sponge. It's a more dense...
What I like about a Christmas pudding over a Christmas cake is a Christmas pudding, for me, doesn't feel as heavy. No. A slice of Christmas cake... You could have that as a meal.
Well, you just have a little bit of Christmas cake normally,
but
don't you?
It is like, whoa.
They're very rich. Both of these things are very rich. But the puddings we tried, actually the one we liked the best, didn't feel really rich, did it? It was so delicious. And I bought a big one, actually, for Christmas Day.
It was shocking. I've got to say it was shocking. We did not expect to like the said pudding as much as we did.
No, it was lovely. And we just have it with... What you have a Christmas pudding with as well varies greatly. A lot of people have it with brandy butter. Oh, that just turns the stomach. For me, it's too much. And that is basically what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Brandy flavoured butter. But then a lot of people have it with cream that's flavoured with an alcohol. I don't like that either.
No, me neither.
Because then you just get that alcohol hit, and I can't really taste anything else. We just have it with plain cream. And that's the best. Some people have custard. Cream is the right thing for me, I think.
It really does make Christmas for me, and I think it does for you as well.
Yeah.
Those types of flavours. But we have another taste test coming up as well. We've not actually filmed this one yet. We have the pickle taste test.
We're waiting for my taste buds to come back.
As part of the Advent calendar, we've been out on a mission trying to find perfect Christmas pickles. We've now collected some together, and they're going to go up against Kay's Christmas chutney.
Well, you made it.
But I made it. I've got to... I am petrified.
It's not mine, it's Delia's.
I'm positively petrified.
Well, I think it'll be fine because it looked right and it smelt right. I think it'll be fine.
Me.
And if it is fine, then it will beat the others hands down. I mean, I shouldn't say that, should I? But
please.
I can't believe
it better be good. We've got about 8 tons of it in the cupboard.
4 jars, I think that's a good number.
2 quite big
normally,
ones.
actually, last year it lasted us until about April. But then we did find the dregs, didn't we? We didn't think we'd got any left.
Smelled great.
And then we found like a tiny bit in the jar in the fridge. It smelled fine.
Christmas is well and truly underway. And not only that, in the last 2 weeks, Mr. Fox, Mr. Fitzwilliam Fox has gone on release.
Here he is.
The Bakery Bears family at last has grown.
Yeah.
We said last time, so many people and asked, when's the family going to grow?
I know, yeah. I got asked it a lot.
You can't force a pregnancy, can you, Kate?
No,
happens
absolutely.
when it happens.
Well, yes, it does. So yes, I mean the pattern's out now. You can go and purchase it if you want, and knits up really quick. Actually, I think when I knit this, I knit the fox itself in a couple of days and had it put together, and then the clothes really just took me another couple of days. So you could easily get one done in time for a Christmas gift. You know, if you've got somebody who particularly likes foxes.
And it's the first time, actually. What was fun for me was we've started using new software for Kate's patterns, and I had to create the template for Kate to then write the pattern. I went through the old Bakery Bear pattern to transfer it over, and it just felt right. After knitting, previously when I've read the Bakery Bear pattern, it's been like, I've got no idea what's going on.
You've knit one.
And now I've knit one, and he's finished. It felt right, it was good. So it's the first time actually we've put out a proper Bakery Bear pattern on the new software too. And the pictures look great.
The pictures look
great.
They
did such a good job.
Yeah, and my test knitters were just fantastic. Sarah and Helena, their versions were just so incredibly cute. So thank you to those lovely ladies, and thank you to everyone who's bought the pattern already.
Just on that note, we must just mention Sherlock Knits' sock quest.
Gosh.
She put a post out the other day. I know she's feeling a little bit down because she needed quite a few more socks. And then she had a delivery. Did you see the post she put? And she put this post and she said, thanks so much to, it was 3 people. One person had actually even gone round and brought around the socks. But special mention to Sarah Hepworth, who'd knitted nearly enough socks for one hospice on her own.
She did. She'd knit 12 pairs. 12 pairs. I mean, if you know Sarah Sherlock Knits Sarah, then you'll see on Instagram she's been talking about this project she's been doing for a few months, and everybody's been knitting socks. I knit 1 pair, which sounds pitiful, doesn't it?
It's just, oh my
Sarah
gosh.
Hepworth, and I know a lot of you will know lovely Sarah, knit 12 pairs of socks. Wow, I just can't get my head around that.
The amount of love I feel for that woman.
Oh, I love Sarah so much.
You just can't put into words, can you?
No,
that's just, I love that.
12 pairs.
I aspire to be as legendary.
Blows my brain. I'm lucky if I knit 12 pairs in a year.
We all aspire to be as legendary a knitter
we do.
as Sarah Hepworth.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And just speaking of Mr. Fox, it's very lucky that he's got this lovely jacket, this lovely scarf, because it's absolutely freezing outside.
Oh,
it is the winter landscape.
Well, it really is. But saying that, we didn't get any snow. You've probably seen loads of people posting pictures of snow.
I'm cool with that.
We didn't get any.
We just got the intense cold.
Real frost. I mean, like the garden now looks really frosty.
Do you know what? I'm perfectly happy for it to be like this and us not have the snow, because it just makes the paths, certainly for running. I looked out the window this morning and you just think, oh, this is going to be tricky. I'm very lucky because I've got a wooded run that I can get to in relatively quickly, but I do have to go on some paths to get there, and sometimes it can be really quite scary and treacherous. But actually, it must have froze so quick.
That it was dry.
It was dry. So, you know, and that's the difference, isn't it?
And
when it snows.
That's good for Bryony, because she fell down the other morning, didn't she, walking into school.
Poor girl.
Totally went down, and she's a big girl, you know.
I said to her,
it would have hurt.
I'm not going to move the car, so, you know, use the car to walk along. And I'm so close to the school gates. So she used the car, got down to the end of the car, let go of the car and fell over.
She was all right. I mean, luckily she landed kind of on her thigh, so it was a nice fleshy area.
She went down like an absolute sack of spuds.
So now she doesn't like
the
the
I'm
snow.
sat in the car and I'm looking and thinking, what do I do? Do I go? Do I come back? And I thought, I can't go, because then she'll always be the girl whose dad came and helped her because it's secondary school.
It's big school now, yeah.
So luckily a sixth former helped us, so
She
everything
did,
was
which
cool.
was nice, and it was the sister of one of her friends.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But enough of this waffle, because there's too many projects I want to talk about, and there really is.
Damn.
Let's just get on with it. Kay Jones, what's on your needles?
Well, I'm still knitting away on my Ricky hats. I heard a podcaster talking about this hat the other day, and she pronounced Ricky in a very strange way.
Ricky.
No, it sounded a bit kind of Scandinavian when she said it.
Maybe
so
it
it
is.
makes me wonder if it's a Scandinavian word.
Oh.
It could be,
That could
couldn't it?
change the whole thing.
Yeah.
It looks Scandinavian.
I can't say it how she said it because
Go on, try.
no, I can't.
No, go on.
No, I can't possibly do that. So I thought that was interesting. But I'm this far in, and really this should be done by now, but it's just not. Oh, isn't it lovely?
It is. It is.
It's really pretty, isn't it?
Yes,
and
the yarn looks great.
I'm knitting on this in bed at night, so I never really see it, because it's quite dim light. And I'm about just short of 7 inches.
It does make a nice fabric. It really does make a nice fabric.
Oh, I kind of want it. I can't have it.
You've got enough hats.
I can't have it. So yeah, I'm about 7 inches, so I think I'm going to knit. I mean, the pattern tells you to knit until it's between 7 and 9 inches, depending on how slouchy you want it. And I think the person it's going to, I reckon she is a kind of slouchy hat person.
Oh, I'm certain of it.
So I'll probably I won't go to 9 inches, I think that's a bit too much. I might go to 8 and then do the decreases.
There's definitely 2 types of person, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a kind of middly slouch. I don't like...
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, maybe there is a down the middle person.
You're a beanie person.
Yeah, I think, yes. Everyone knows that. So there is tight to the head, medium, and full-on slouch.
Yeah, I don't...
And this person is full-on...
I would say she probably is full-on
If it was
slouch,
feasibly possible, she'd have it slouching to the floor.
Possibly, but I'm not going to do the full 9 inches. I'm going to go for a middly sort of slouch, and then that's a good middle ground, isn't it? And because I want to have some left as well to do a pom-pom. And this yarn it's an Irish yarn. She's actually changed the name of her shop now, and I can't recall what it is, unfortunately, but it's Monica O'Brien is the person who dyed it. It was Red Heart Knits, and it's Lismore Gardens in the spring. It's 100% merino DK, 210 metres. Lovely, lovely yarn to knit with.
If that is what Lismore Gardens look like in the spring, I want to
go there.
I'd also, looking at that, I'm thinking roadies.
Roadies?
Rhododendrons.
Oh, right, okay. No, I thought you meant people working in a show. I had no idea what you were talking
What
about.
do you mean? Band roadies.
Yeah.
Getting the band on stage.
Yeah.
That's very hip and cool, Kay. I've just become very not hip and cool by saying that's very hip and cool, Kay.
So yeah, it's lovely, it's squishy, I'm not far off done, and I don't think I'll have to even block this. It's garter stitch, isn't it? I'm not, I really don't think I'm going to have to block it. So that should be done soon. Whenever I knit a Ricky hat, I always kind of want to do a fingering weight version. I think that would be really nice. So I was looking at the pattern this morning and thinking, how many would I cast on? It's a free pattern. And you have to, so it's DK weight, and she tells you to cast on 104. And what I've done is I looked at the crown decreases and saw what the kind of multiple needs to be for the crown decreases still to work. Needs to divide by 13 basically. So I think if you cast on 130, that's like adding 2 more lots of 13 basically. I reckon that might be about right for fingering weight. So I might give it a go. And I bought some yarn recently.
You did not.
I did, which you're going to talk about.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because you're knitting with it. And it's some drops yarn. And whilst I was buying that for Dan, I thought, I've always wanted to try the Drops Baby Alpaca Silk. I've never even held this in my hands, which is ridiculous really. I see so many people talking about it, and I've never even felt it. It's lovely.
It's very nice.
And it's got alpaca in, which I'm quite sensitive to alpaca, and it's 70% alpaca, and I think this is why I've avoided it. So it's 70 alpaca, 30 silk. But actually, it's not bad at all, prickle-wise.
That's okay.
I can feel a little prickle, but it's not bad, and I think it'd be fine on my head because you've got hair. And actually, the hat I wear the most is the Dragonflies hat pattern. I think it is by Hohi Locatelli, and that's got alpaca in, and I wear that all the time. So I think I'd be okay with this. And this colour I think was something like purple grey or grey purple. It's just a really pretty.
Is that knit flat and seamed, that hat?
Which?
That hat that you've just described.
The Dragonflies hat?
Yeah.
No.
But I know she likes to knit everything flat, doesn't she?
Hohi?
Yeah.
She does tend to, well, she knits on straight needles, doesn't she? Hohi Locatelli.
Do you knit the front and the back and...
No. It's in the round. Not for a hat. It's in the round. So I think I might give it a go with this. I've got 2 skeins of this. It is, what do you get? 167 metres, 183 yards. So I'd need more than one, I think, wouldn't I? I don't know. But I've got 2 anyway, so I might give a Ricky hat a go in this. I think it'll be really pretty. It's sort of like a neutral, but with a bit of colour, if that makes sense. So, might give that a go. Dan Jones?
Yes.
What's on your needles?
Well, before I tell you, you've just reminded me, actually, or I've reminded me as well in what I was saying. When I was at school, when I was at the Minster school, we used to have to wear hats. The Minster school in York used to wear these caps.
A cap?
Yes, you have to wear a cap. And it was all flat, because it was all segments. And all the segments were sewn together.
It's like a peaked cap,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but my head was so big that my mum used to have to adjust. They didn't make a hat big enough to fit me. I mean, how embarrassing is that?
That's dreadful.
It wasn't even close. So what my mum had to do was she used to have to unpick. She used to get. I mean, actually, my hats were always hand-me-downs from my brothers anyway.
Right.
So what she would do is she would get one of my brother's old hats. She would unpick the stitching on the back.
Add in an extra segment.
Add in a segment.
Where did she get the fabric from?
From one of the other hats, because I had 2 brothers who both went, and they had a number of hats.
Right.
So she would then add in a segment and then sew it all up, and then I'd put it on. Now, there was 2 problems with this. The first one was always the hats weren't quite the same shade. So it was like red all the way around with then like an orangey patch at the back. No matter what she did, she could never get 2 that had worn the same.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, as soon as you added an extra segment, it stopped being a hat that sat down and became more of a beret that sat on top of your head.
Gosh.
And I remember once being stood up in the school assembly by a teacher, and I won't shame him by saying who he was, and he stood me up in the school assembly and he said, "And you, Jones, make sure that when you come to school tomorrow, your hat does not look like it's growing out the top of your head."
It's mortifying, isn't
Yeah, I
it?
know. It's not my fault that I've got a big head and the school doesn't make a cap big enough.
Yeah.
But of course, if I'd said that, that would have been answering back. So you can't win. Shocking. That same teacher that used to teach Latin, and that same teacher, the first time I went and sat in his classroom, the desks all had dents on, and I couldn't work out what the reason was. And the reason was, if he asked you a question you didn't answer quick enough, he would throw a cricket ball at you. God. And you used to have to lift the desk up to block the cricket ball. Otherwise...
Cricket balls,
yes,
that could kill you.
I know. I'm not joking you. And also, as well, there was another teacher, the science teacher, I mean, he would throw whatever was in his hand. So it might be a piece of chalk, but normally it was the board rubber.
Yeah, yeah.
But the question is this. Are all the people I went to school with upstanding citizens and are, mentally sound? They are. I'm not aware of any. So, it does create that difficult balance, doesn't it, as to where is the right... I'm certainly not saying we should be throwing cricket balls at our children.
No.
Or throwing board rubbers at them.
No.
But it didn't do me any harm.
But it's the whole discipline thing, isn't it?
It is. It is. There is a fine line to tread. Anyway.
Dan Jones.
Yes.
What's on your needles?
Well, I appear to be knitting a lady.
You're knitting a lady.
Well, it says Samantha, and I'm wondering when this lady's going to appear from my knitting. Maybe it's when I finish. She pops into the jumper. I'm knitting Samantha. I'd cast it on. And it's 196 stitch cast on.
Right.
I tell you that because I'm proud of that.
Because it's bottom up.
Yes. I feel like this will be better than this. And I think that's because I think that the colour is...
The colour's beautiful. I had a complete change of yarn idea for this. You might remember from the last podcast we were going to use Malabrigo worsted. However, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, do you know what? With Dan's knitting style, he tends to, after he's done a stitch...
Well, you don't need to demonstrate it. I'll show people.
He gives the yarn a little pull.
I just did then. They saw.
And I just thought, do you know what? A single ply Malabrigo worsted, if he keeps doing that, it's going to pill before he's even finished knitting it. I thought, right, okay, I'm going to order some more yarn. And I thought about the Drops Alaska that I've got to knit Dan's vest, which I am going to cast on in the next few days. And I thought, well, I'll look at the colours that they do in that because it's an Aran weight. The pattern calls for an Aran weight. It's very cheap to buy. And they had this beautiful colour. Sorry, I've wound it into a little ball for him
because it was unwound and it was absolutely doing my head in.
It's probably not going to transfer, but it's like
It looks pretty good.
I think it's called pink grey or grey pink, something like that.
That's quite literal.
But it is like it's this beautiful sort of pink shade, which has then been given a grey wash over the top. So you get some areas that look kind of lavender because of the grey, and then you've got some areas which are more pink. It's just really pretty, and this is my kind of colour. You know, I think, and a cable jumper.
Well, look at it.
Beautiful.
Look at it.
Imagine that in this sort of colour. I just think it'll be beautiful. Well, how are you finding the yarn? I've not asked you.
It's fine.
It's fine. But
There's nothing wrong with it.
You want to change needles. He's working on Chaogu needles and they're a bit
it's too
pointy.
It's too pointy. It's
so
hurting my finger.
I'm going to swap them to wooden. I'm going to get you some wooden ones when we've finished recording.
Although it's interesting, isn't it? Because
it's
right
it's
when
a lot of
so I do.
It's when you use your finger to push.
Yeah, look.
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
I did not have a problem
with the wooden.
With that one.
No, because
and I'll have been doing the same thing, won't I? So I'm approaching it with exactly the same technique, and this is
a lot of people use their
finger
to push the needles. So
and I've tried using the thingy for your finger.
Oh yeah.
And it's fine, but do you know what? The tip of my finger gets really hot. It's like moist. Well, it's true.
That's stupid.
Well, I can't help it.
It's colour number 40, this lovely yarn, in case you want to look it up. And I bought loads, actually. I bought probably a skein more than we needed, but just to be sure.
The thing is, okay, how much did that cost a skein?
It's about £8.
And this cost?
Well, this was 100 grams, so if you half that, because these are 50 grams,
so
about £4.
And this cost?
£1.55, because I found it a little bit cheaper. That's a vast difference. 3 times as cheap as, you know what I mean?
That's bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bananas because, you know, look at it.
It's perfectly nice yarn.
And what's the content?
It's just 100% wool.
Right.
I don't know what sort of wool, and it's actually made in, it says the EU, but I think is it a Norwegian? They're in Norway, drops.
Right.
So, I mean, I'd be interested to know what breed of sheep it is. If anybody knows, I'd be interested. It's certainly not a merino.
That is lovely and smooth.
Yeah.
So, you know, that...
This one will pill more than this will pill, I think.
That feels like a jumper.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
But this is not scratchy at all, I don't think. Totally fine.
It's rustic.
It's slightly, you know, it's not merino, but it really is fine. One of the reasons that I find garment knitting not really for me is because I like using really beautiful yarns, and to buy a sweater's worth of a really beautiful yarn is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that tends to be why I prefer smaller projects, because I can use the yarns I want to use. But I prefer garments knit in like this sort of yarn rather than... I'm not a huge fan of garments where they've been knit with a variegated yarn.
No.
Not really my thing. And also you have to alternate, and I don't do that.
It's really interesting this, because I'm definitely not, and I would have known this without you saying those things and me thinking about, you know, knitting that and knitting this. I'm definitely not driven by the yarn.
Oh, right.
So long as the yarn feels okay and everything's cool, and so long as it looks nice, I'm driven by what I'm doing. Yeah?
I think it will produce a beautiful garment. And it's, you see, although the yarn is lovely, you see the garment, it's like this.
Yeah,
the yarn's lovely, but you see the pattern. I don't want to be distracted from the pattern. I know if you're knitting a plain jumper, that's different, isn't it? But Dan's never going to knit a plain jumper, I can tell you that.
No, I will also tell you that.
Yeah. Do you know what you could knit me next? I'd love, actually...
Would you?
I'd love, actually, how seasonal. I would love a, like, traditional Aran jumper knit in sort of cream.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you now what I want to knit. And I know I'm probably a year away from that. And I'll maybe talk more about this in a minute or two on another project. But I've really decided, you know, this year's been a big year for me we're obviously coming up to the end of the year, and the first show of 2018 will be talking about our knitting horizons for 2018. So that set me off thinking about what's happened this year, things I've done, the socks, the garments, the double knitting, all those things. And I've really come to the conclusion that I really, really want to get really good at knitting. Do you know what I mean, though? I don't
know that I've ever consciously thought that, so it's a good point, really.
I want to knit those coloured yolky top thingies.
Okay, well it's not difficult, really.
For me it will be, because it's a tension thing with dealing with the colours. But you do double knitting. I do, but I have to get my tension right.
Right.
And I think I'm getting better at this.
You can't pull your yarn tight when you're doing that.
No, but I think that it will just be a trial, and I'll need some sort of small project to start with.
It works better if you do it with both hands, and I can teach you how to do that. It's not difficult. I
think I might be just a tiny bit away from that. I maybe need to start with a hat.
Yeah.
And then work up. So maybe that, but that's all to come. But I really have, this year's been a big year for me in just thinking what I'm doing with stuff in general. And I want to keep getting better. And I really would love to be able to cast on one of those jumpers, because I've seen some of those jumpers. And it was, I think it's Cotton Autumn or something is her name on Instagram.
Right.
And she knit one of those, and I commented on it, and I asked what it was actually. It's just the most stunning thing. Beautiful,
so
beautiful
like a colourwork
jumper.
yoke.
Yes.
But then the rest is plain. You do know that.
But
generally the rest is plain.
But look at this. Plain.
Yeah, but that's different because you're always doing something within the row.
I realise that. But I think if I had done that on the top, right. I think that mentally I'll have got my kicks from that bit.
Okay.
And I want to knit one for you.
Okay.
And for everybody.
I'll accept that.
I want to churn those out for the world.
Thank you very much.
Kate Jones, what else is on your needles?
I'm knitting a pair of mittens.
It's very exciting. I didn't even know that you were doing this.
No, you've probably not even seen them because I've been trying to...
because I saw a picture.
Oh, right, okay. I've been trying to knit them when Bryony's not around because it's a gift for her for Christmas. And I got the mini skein set that I showed you from the Yarn Lab. I'll show you the bag. The Yarn Lab UK. I bought 2 of her 50-gram mini skein sets that were the next generation. It's like the children of the characters on Harry Potter. And what I did was I've doubled them and I'm knitting a pair of mittens. And I'm using a pattern that I knit before. I don't know if you remember. I never finished the mittens, but it's called the Semplice. Would you say Semplice or Semplice?
Semplice.
Semplice. The Semplice mittens. It's a Knit Picks pattern. It's by Stacey. Brilliant name. Winklepleck. Oh, that's an excellent name. She should be a character in a Dickens book. But I used this pattern when I was test knitting the black brushwork yarn, and I knit one mitt, if you remember. And I didn't have enough yarn that they sent me just to sample to knit the other, and I intended to go and get another skein, and I've never done that. So I've just got one mitt, and it totally matches my jumper. But I've used the same pattern for, I think this was for I can't remember it. It's Knit Picks Galileo. I don't know if that's a sport or a DK. But I just thought, well, that was a sport, but a thick sport. And fingering weight double. It's about a DK-ish. And it's worked. So I've done one mitt except for the thumb. And what I've done is I've sort of, it's like a block, I suppose. It's not really striping because I've only used one bit, if you know what I mean. It's more like a block of colour of each of the 5 colours. So I'll pop that on.
It looks great.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was pretty or if it was a bit ugly. I couldn't work it out.
It's not ugly at all.
What do you think?
I think it looks really lovely.
It's quite Harry Potterish, isn't it?
Yeah.
That whole...
Well, that's Luna all the way.
Well, yeah, I think that one's the daughter of Luna.
Right.
I can't remember what her name is, but I think she'll like them.
Absolutely.
Just as a little present, because she does like fingerless mitts. She seems to enjoy those because, at lunchtime at school when they're allowed to get their phones out in the playground. I can't say playground, can I, for secondary?
No.
She can have these on and still mess with her phone. So that's one done, and I cast on the other one. yesterday, I think it was. I had an hour on the sofa watching Castaway. A little bit of Tom Hanks action. And
it's a very clever film, that.
Oh, it's
because there's hardly
fabulous.
any dialogue.
No.
I mean, that is how good the guy is.
I know. But it's strange, I've watched it that many times that even though I'm not really looking at the screen, I know from just the noises that you can.
And it's cleverly directed too. You know, there's one bit in it, isn't there, where he just decides he's just going to shout as loud as he can to try and get some attention. That is exactly what you would do. Yeah. Even though, you know, if you stopped and just took a step back and thought it through logically, you would know it made no sense. But you would just think you'd be that desperate. That's what you do. It's a very clever film.
It's a brilliant film, brilliantly acted. So I've got the second one cast on. Very quick, you know, I would have really had these done normally by now. But I'll easily get them done before Christmas. And I was just going to tuck these into a Christmas stocking. So I've just got to do the thumb on that one, finish that one. And I'll have yarn left, I think, which is brilliant because I can put it into, you know, scrappy blanket projects or whatever. And I follow the pattern exactly, except I accidentally did one more gusset increase than I should have.
Whoops.
So it meant I had 2 stitches less on this bit than this bit down here. But actually, I think that works quite well because your hand does go smaller, doesn't it, at the top? And it fits really well. And Bryony's hands are about the same size as mine. So I know we measured them actually the other night, didn't we? Because she's like, how big are your hands, Mummy? We were like this, and they're about the same. So I know they'll fit her nicely. I think she'll like those.
Yeah.
So I'll have those done in the next couple of days. Touch wood.
Cool. I've invented a thing.
Have you?
Yes.
What? Wait for it.
You know when you're knitting socks? Why don't you, for the heels and toes, put in a different coloured yarn?
Did you know you could do that? Dan's just discovered it. He came downstairs last night, just before you had your shower, you just knit a couple of rows, didn't you? And he came downstairs and he went, this is the most amazing thing I've ever done. I said, what have you done? He said, I'm knitting with a different colour for the heel. I said, oh right, yeah. It's amazing.
Look, I know you've all been doing this for ages. I've never done it before, and I'll be honest, I never thought I really would care about it. But now I've done it, I'm never doing anything else. Every pair of socks I knit will have a contrast heel and a contrast toe. That's like...
Gosh, it's enormous, that.
Yes, look. Well, it won't be because
but
I'm going to...
the reason it's enormous, honey, is because it's a straight stocking stitch heel flap.
Right. Well, that's the right weight of yarn.
I know, I'm telling you, it's because it's a stocking stitch heel flap.
Yeah, it is an interesting process to go through this because I would never, without doing the Dan and Lara project, I would not ever have knit. I wasn't looking forward to this. I just thought this is pointless and it's a bit boring and I just want to do complex stuff. Well, actually, how naive and stupid. Because, you know, is there anything more lovely than that? Even if it doesn't fit anyone, even if I just look at it.
Because we
hold on, I haven't finished pontificating about how gorgeous this is. Look at the...
It's lovely, Dan. I said, oh, which colour are you doing? He said, purple. Pink and purple. It's really nice.
It's even pretty from the back. Look at the line.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Look at the line. I'm worried about how much I like this.
That's what he said to me last night. I was like, oh, go away, I'm ill.
I'm genuinely worried about how much I like this. And also, it's a different one because I'm doing...
It's doing like...
Doing weird stuff.
Gusset decreases. I don't know. It's peculiar.
There's 2 stitch markers and there's stuff going on here and here. And then now I'm about to start knitting to markers and...
You're doing the heel turn then?
Yes.
Right. It's
a
very odd construction. I'd be interested to see.
But I messed up. This is worsted.
It's not, it's DK.
This is DK.
Do you know how I said last episode, gosh, I can't even remember dyeing that.
She didn't dye.
I didn't. We realised when I looked at the sock one night and I'm like...
No, I said, this really feels big. I said, this feels big.
Yeah,
look at it.
It's really big.
I'm not that crazy.
And then I was like, oh, do you know why? It's because it's DK.
The thing is, though, I think this is going to be all right, Kay, because That'll hold up.
We looked at it and debated, and I said, you know what, I think it'll be fine. Because his gauge is incredibly tight.
But also, as well, you were too mesmerised by the gorgeous fabric.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It looks beautiful, and you can see how lovely that looks. And I said, I'll just wear them as house socks. I quite like socks to be sort of baggy. I do prefer that rather than... So, you know, a lot of people like all that negative ease. Personally, I think a lot of negative ease means it's too small, but that's just my opinion.
So what you do is knit with a lot of negative ease and then block it aggressively.
Well, yeah.
We spoke about this last time. Do you know what? It fascinates me and draws my eye in. It was pink, and now it's purple. It's like seamless.
I hope people are laughing at you because I hope you know how ridiculous you sound.
Yeah, I know that, but I want you to understand, especially if you haven't done this before, especially if you haven't knit socks before, this brings joy to yourself. It's wonderful.
But what did she have you do that I never do? She has you cut the main colour yarn, and when I saw it dangling like that, I said, "Have you cut the main colour?" He's like, "Yeah." I went, "Oh."
And then I went,
because I never do that. You know, it's just another end to weave in, isn't it? And you don't need to. You can do it without. But he's following the pattern, so.
I love it. What else is on your needles?
I've got two things in my little handy dandy basket, and I'm going to show you this basket, even though I've been ridiculed, as you can imagine.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
She's making it up.
We went to a new shop that's just opened up.
If there's 50 baskets in every room, I'm perfectly happy with
There
that.
isn't 50 baskets in every room.
There's a basket for everything.
Well, that's better than stuff.
Clothes for the day.
Anyway, I saw these really cute baskets in Dunelm, which is a new kind of like home furnishings, homewares, haberdashery type shop.
She's allowed baskets, but I'm not allowed a beanbag.
It was massive. He keeps going on about
It was as big as our house. If there was one like that pink one we had years ago with a nice outer on it.
Yeah.
Beanbags are great sometimes, just for slinging down on the floor and just kicking back.
Yeah, but where do you keep them? We haven't got a house big enough to accommodate beanbags. We just haven't. So anyway.
Show them your basket.
So this is our little basket. It's by Curver. Yeah, you see, it's plastic. You know, it's not. Dan said, "Oh, is it metal?" I said, "No, it's just plastic." But it's brilliant, and I bought this size, and I got one a bit smaller as well for that I sort of put underneath the little table I've got, and it's got all my notions in and a few pens and a pad, and
oh, lovely.
It's lovely.
Oh,
I'm enjoying these little baskets, and if you've got a Dunelm near you, then I'd say go and get them. They had different colours.
when did they drop the mill bit?
Yeah, it was always
Recently.
It was always Dunelm Mill.
Now it's
Mill
Dunelm,
shop.
the home of homes.
It's just Dunelm. Yeah, the home of homes.
What's that about?
What does that even mean?
And do you know what
Don't
I love?
you love company strap lines?
What I love even more about Dunelm is if you go in, they all think they're Madonna. Every one of them, and I mean every one of them.
Headsets
they've got
on.
headsets on.
It's so funny.
What's that about?
It's a brand new store, so I do wonder how long those
Is that
headsets
like
will last.
maybe they're micromanagers, so the manager can talk to any person he wants at any
I'd be
point.
so annoyed. Can you imagine you serving customers and you've got somebody talking in your ear? I'd be...
Let me get on with
do
my
my
job.
head in. Right, anyway.
They're all loving their job though, aren't they, at the moment?
Well, they
You know,
are,
you
because
went
they've
to
only
the-
worked there for a week.
Yes,
So.
you went in and bought those blankets. And, oh, another convert to Teddy Bear.
I bought some
Well, no,
Christmas
not really. There's 2 pairs of socks in there.
There's 2 pairs of socks in here. These baskets accommodate 2 pairs of socks.
It's a double project basket.
So, you know, it's all the better, in my opinion.
Yes.
So I've cast on a pair of socks for Dan because I didn't have one on the needles and it felt a bit strange. So I bought this yarn recently. I saw somebody knitting with this yarn. Can't remember who it was. And it's a new range from Regia. And I was all over that. I'm like, oh my word. And it's a Christmas range. It's called Seasons. It's just their 4-ply, but when you search for it online, if you search Regia Seasons 4-ply, then you'll see the whole range. I couldn't find it in any UK shops at all. They were all in Germany. And they were all, that I looked at, all out of stock of the one colour that I wanted, which is always the way, isn't it? I ordered 2 other colours, and this one I'm knitting with is 09414. Shall I try and pronounce it?
Go on then.
It's that word there.
Oh.
Weihnachtsmann.
Weihnachtsmann.
It means Father Christmas or Santa Claus, as far as I understand. So everybody in Germany is laughing their heads off at me now. But I think that's, yeah. So 09414. They did, I think there was about 6 different colourways. And I got this one, I got another one. I can't remember the name of the other one, but I'll when I get to knit it, I'll show you. But the one I wanted had an 8 on the end of it. I don't know if it was 08 on the end, and it was very traditional sort of reds and greens and creams, and it was lovely. And of course that's the one everybody wants. But actually, I'm knitting this one and I love it. So the colours are this, and it does look like Santa's suit, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Reds and greys and browns and cream, and it's, you know, perfect for Dan, for a Dan sock. And
Absolutely.
This is how it's knitting up. I love it. Oh, look at that.
It's lovely.
It's really nice. 2.5mm, 72 stitches, my normal for Dan. Oh, it's lovely. And I'm going to just put, I've got some cream opal. I'm going to put in just a cream contrast heel.
Hey, stop stealing my thing.
You see now it's a thing. Because when it's this kind of self-patterning yarn, I usually always put in a contrast heel, just to reduce the likelihood of disrupting the patterning. It's not so bad when you've got a self-patterning like this for Regia and Opal. Don't think it's really so bad. But isn't it lovely? So if you can get a hold of some of this yarn, I would really recommend it. I love Regia. It's the same, I kind of get not quite the same feeling as Opal. You know my soft spot for Opal, but it's close. And I've knit you Regia socks before and they're brilliant.
Yeah.
So I know that it'll work really well, and I really do love the colours. There's also like a burgundy, so it's like red, bright red, burgundy, grey, cream and a browny sort of colour. I'll show you again because I love it so much. Oh, it's lovely.
Have you finished?
So yeah, I think I've finished with that one. I
Cool.
might just knit a little row while you talk and I'll just not talk for a second.
Speaking of contrast heel socks, on the 28th of December, between Christmas and New Year, we like to put out some special little shows. Kay does a top 5 yarns, and also previously we've done other special things on the Thursday. And this year, completely new thing, you're doing something that we've never seen before anywhere, and that is a review of socks that have had quite a bit of wear. So that was a really interesting thing to do, and just you talking about contrast heels, that made me think of that one with the contrast heels that you showed.
Oh.
Yeah. It was really interesting.
Had a blowout.
It was really interesting to go through all the different favourite socks over the years and see some worn amazingly well. And it was also then really interesting to consider, we spoke about how knit socks wear against bought socks, and you've got some socks that are 2 years old that, you know, I've never had a pair of bought socks that have last me that long.
I think I've got them on.
Right. But that's to come on the 28th of December. Speaking of socks, yes, it's more socks. And I'm not getting this wrong.
That's a funny way of saying it.
Why?
I'm not getting this wrong.
Yeah.
So,
well, last time, I mean, it's the Uncommon Dragon socks, part of the Dan and Lara project. It's lovely yarn. It's so lovely. Kate did dye this one.
I did do that one.
This was my pinky, Christmassy, looks a bit like rhubarb and custardy.
It does, yeah, it does.
And these will be for Bryony. These will fit her.
Yeah.
I am knitting on the edge of my abilities. I absolutely am. And I do 8 rows and then I've got a headache. I feel exhilarated and I feel like I've learned something after those 8 rows.
It'll be better once you've done the leg, because then you've only got to knit it on half your stitches, haven't you?
Yes. And then I'm just knitting
It just
down
go down the heel though, doesn't it?
It does. Goes down the back of the heel. But I must be getting close to the heel, mustn't I?
Have you just finished an 8 row?
I have.
Do another 8 rows and that'll probably be alright.
Right, cool. So I'm enjoying knitting these. I was not enjoying them the last time I saw you. And I think that the problem was I'd just got into it. So you just couldn't tell if it was right or if it was wrong. Once I'd done one repeat and I got into the next repeat, you start, don't you? You start to then get an understanding of what you're looking at and what's right and what's wrong. And, you know, you can tell it's right because all the lines are in the right place. I don't know what else to say.
It's decrease lines, aren't they?
All the decrease lines are in the right place. So winner all round. So Uncommon Dragon Socks, part of the Dan and Lara project. And it's going to take a while, but who knows? Because I do feel enthused to get through these. I don't know if I'm enthused or I just want to get them over with. I can't quite work that out at the moment.
I would think it's the latter.
Put it this way, I'll be ecstatic when I finish these and I won't ever knit them again. Now my feelings
how I feel about that.
My feelings may change by the end, but I don't expect that they will.
No.
Because I don't want to have a headache after doing eight rounds, if you know what I mean. But who knows, you see, by the time I've knit this sock, my abilities will have risen to a level where I probably can knit 8 rows of this.
Oh, you definitely won't find it as much of a chore.
So
I would say.
I will have learnt something from it and I'll be a better knitter from the process of knitting them. And that's why I didn't stop knitting them. What else is on your needles?
Well, I'll go back into my basket and pull out another sock.
Oh, you see, is it you going to show that one now?
Yes.
I see, I really like that. Is that for you?
Well,
I wish it was for me.
Well, it's certainly not for you.
But it's so lovely.
Well, it's not big enough
I love
for
it.
you. It's not big enough for you.
I know that.
Stop guilting me.
No,
because
I'm sorry.
I'll end up ripping it out and making it for you if you just carry on guilting
I hate
me.
it.
Thank you.
I don't like it. They look awful.
Excellent. Well, the reason actually I cast this one on was because I was thinking about self-striping sock yarn and maybe coming up with my own design for a self-striping sock yarn. So I thought, right, I'll cast one on and just give something a go. So I cast this on and I did try a couple of things. But then I thought, do you know what, this particular yarn is not quite right for that. It needs to be more of a solid self-striping yarn. This one was just too pretty to interrupt the yarn. And it's a yarn that I've had in stash for, I don't know how long. It's got to be a couple of years. If not, well, yeah, it's got to be a couple of years at least. And I've kind of been hoarding it. And it's Dancing Dog Dyeworks, lovely Michelle, who of course doesn't dye any longer. So that's made it sort of all the more special. And it's a twist sock, which is 100% superwash merino, no nylon, 400 yards. And the colourway is gingerbread houses, and it's a 2-striper. And I think when it came and it was in a skein, it just looked so pretty. I just couldn't bring myself to knit with it, and that's just silly, isn't it? So I was like, do you know what? It was a complete whim. I was looking for I went up to my stash. I was looking for a striping sock yarn. I was going to use something very basic, and then I saw this, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to cast that on. Life's too short, isn't it?
It's blooming beautiful.
And it's lovely.
That might be the nicest of her yarns that I've ever seen knit up.
Look at that. I think, and actually I've got the thing here, I think it might be based on this fabric. Can you see, this is a placemat I made last year. Can you see this fabric here? Michelle, if you're watching, is it based on this fabric? Because look, it's exactly the same. I'm sure it must be based on this fabric. So you get these wide stripes. It's quite a wide stripe. I really like that. You get a wide stripe of this beautiful blue. It's gorgeous. And then this variegated section with reds and pinks and greens and browns in it. Oh, it's just lovely. It's so pretty. So I'm just doing a plain sock, 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeters. This yarn's lovely. It's really lovely. And the other reason I think I'd ordered it is because I had thought when I ordered it had nylon in. That's my mistake. I remember when I ordered it, I did it really quick because I didn't want to miss out on it. So I was like, oh, do I want to knit socks with it? But what I'm going to do is put in a contrast heel.
Right.
And I've got some of these little Regia, my first Regia balls, which have got 25% nylon in. And it's this lovely pink, which I think brings out the pink that's in here. So I'm going to use this for the heels and toes. Maybe toes. Yeah, maybe toes, I'll see, but definitely heels. And then I think that will solve the kind of no nylon issue. But saying that, it feels really sturdy, and it's a thicker yarn. It's 400 yards, and normally sock skeins are usually around 400 metres. So that's quite a difference, and from that you can tell that it's going to be a plumper yarn, and it is. It's got a really nice twist, really lovely stitch definition, and it feels quite sturdy. So I think it'll be absolutely fine. And Bryony, if these go to Bryony, she's not hard on the socks anyway. And maybe it'll be a pair that she just wears around this time of year. So lovely. It's just bright and fun, and it is that sort of striping thing where, I'm knitting through the blue and I'm like looking at the yarn going, oh, where does the variegated bit start? It's so fun. And I think I've been thinking about, I'm going to really research all of the different types of like short row type heels that there are, because I do feel like there must be a short row sort of heel that fits, okay. I don't think they will ever fit brilliantly well, because I've tried a few and they don't, but I just feel like that there might be. So I'm going to do a bit of research and see if I can find something, and maybe I can find something and modify it or something, I don't know. So once I've finished the leg on this, it might just pause while I have a little think about what I'm going to do for the heel, because I think if I do a gusset, a normal gusset and heel turn, I think it will probably disrupt the stripes quite a bit. They'll look quite a bit thinner, won't they? Maybe I'll try that, who knows. So it's gorgeous, I'm loving it. And Bryony loves it. She went, oh, when she saw me knitting it, she went, is that for me? It's so pretty, Mummy.
It is. The Bakery Bears bucket list is back. And it's Christmas. Yes, these 2 proposals have to be Christmas themed.
I didn't know that. That's
Because-
a good job mine is.
Because
You didn't tell me that.
on every list, I think it's important that you take into consideration some of the important times of, the times of the year that feel a lot to you. You should have something that accentuates that feeling, I think, on the bucket list. Because it's, potentially, it might not be either. They both might get vetoed. For those of you who haven't seen this segment before, we both have a vote and a veto card. And after the proposals, we have the opportunity to ask each other some questions. And once we've asked those questions, we will then vote or veto our proposals. No arguments, no upset. Kay's already vetoed one of mine. Have I vetoed one of hers? I have not. But let me tell you, that's not because I didn't want to. Don't think that I'm just voting for them because it's Kay.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No, because I really wouldn't do that. I'd only vote for things that I genuinely want to put on this list. So, first time I went first, second time you went first, this is the third time.
So you go first.
So I'll go first. Folks, I don't know how else to say this. I want to go to Lapland.
Oh, gosh.
Now, Kay threw a spanner in the works when she proposed going to Egypt and doing the Nile cruise.
Right.
Because I wasn't really thinking of things which have barriers to entry for us, which is flying. At the moment, we would be terrified of flying. But she sort of changed my thinking. And also as well, I was just sort of thinking about things in general and about things that I would desperately feel unhappy about if I was to die tomorrow. And one of those things would be, and I'm being deadly serious here, I really, really want to go to Lapland.
Okay.
And I'll go further.
Where is Lapland?
It's in Finland.
Right.
I'll go further. I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do when we get there. Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. We are going to fly into a place called Kittilä. And we're going to be given complimentary ski suits and boots.
Oh, I don't do one pieces.
We're not skiing, by the way.
Well, I certainly don't ski.
Because I wouldn't want to ski either.
A one-piece ski suit.
You need thermals because...
That bothers me more than flying.
But it's warm. Well, I'm sure you could wear what you like, but you need to be warm.
Right.
We will, on day one, we'll then go back to our log cabin. And the log cabins are nice. The log cabins are in a place called... My pronunciations are terrible. It's not called that. It's called, Ilas. Y-A-A-S.
Y-double-L-A-S.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll go to our log cabins and we'll settle in. And then on our first full day, we will go to Santa's workshop. We'll meet Santa. We will make gingerbread with the elves.
Oh.
I mean, how amazing does that sound?
Yeah.
I haven't decided yet if Bryony's coming. On day 2, we will go for a snowmobile safari.
Ah.
Now, you don't have to drive if you don't want to, but you can drive one if you want to, because they're easy to drive.
Right.
So everyone gets a snowmobile and you all go one after the other.
Right.
And you go into the woods.
So Bryony couldn't go on the back of yours?
Yes, she could.
I was going to say, she wouldn't be up for that.
Also, there are trailers with covers on, which children can go in. But Bryony's the size of an adult.
She's taller than
so
me.
She would go on the back. She'd be able to hold on to the back. But see, that then creates an issue for you, because then...
I could drive one.
Cool! Rock and roll. Yeah, you could. You'd be fine.
I can drive, so I thought I can steer a
snowmobile. We'll speak later about Chuckney. So we will go for a snowmobile safari, and it's quite a long safari, because it finishes up as it's getting dark, but remember, it does get dark very early.
Yeah.
Light a big fire, cook out, and Northern Lights.
Oh, my word. Right.
And then on our final day there, it's three days, officially it's a 4-day trip. On our final day there, we will get to spend time, and I'm not messing you around here, with the Sami herders.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. We will be introduced to their reindeer.
Right.
We will be taken on a 1.5 kilometres, it's not very far, 1.5 kilometre reindeer ride.
Wow.
To where they keep their huskies, and we will get to feed the baby huskies.
Oh my gosh, Bryony would absolutely explode.
So it's just a 4-day trip
to
Lapland. And I'm not joking you, right? I am not joking you. I want to do that above anything else, ever. Seriously, how immense would that be? To go to where Santa lives.
You're funny.
And to stay in, like, the log cabins look gorgeous. The whole thing looks amazing.
Is it fully catered then, is it?
It's, the only meal that's not catered is breakfast and lunch.
Where do you get your breakfast and lunch though?
They give you some food when you arrive, but then there's a shop on the complex where you can go and get what you like.
Oh, and there's a little kitchen in your cabin?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine then.
This is a proper lovely...
I didn't understand that part of it.
The cabins are lovely.
Right.
Log cabin.
Oh, well, self-cater.
It's lovely fireplace.
Right.
Sauna.
Oh, no, don't do that.
I would.
Anyway.
I would. So, it's lovely. It's not cheap.
Well, that was my next question.
But it wasn't as expensive as I thought.
I don't know what quite that means. Do you need to write down the figure?
No. Well, no. Either way.
Well, that would influence my decision.
Either way, we'll be saving for some time.
But that would influence my decision.
No, but that can't be right, because I guarantee you this would cost the same as doing what you want to do in Egypt.
Right, okay.
So, it's not...
So it might be Bryony's 20 by the time we do this.
I think she'd be cool with that. What 20-year-old, what person
she would
not be cool with doing what I've just described? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out later. That is my proposal.
Okay.
My proposal is a trip to Santaland.
Okay.
I know him. What is your proposal?
Right.
Yes.
Mine is nowhere near as expensive or glamorous as that. Okay. But it could be not equally as lovely, but it could be really nice.
Oh, anything that you do can be lovely, can't it?
Every Christmas Eve on the TV, I think it's Christmas Eve, yes it is, in the sort of mid-afternoon, you get a service, broadcast live I should say, from Westminster, and it's the Carol of 9 Lessons, no.
It's the Carol of 9 Lessons and Carols. It's the 9 Lessons and Carols service, Kay.
It's the 9
It's the 9 Lessons and Carols service, Kay.
Thank you.
That's my pleasure. I used to sing in them.
Yes. And it's done from Westminster, as I said. However, there is the same sort of performance, same service at York Minster during December. And what I would like to do is I would love to go to that service and I would love to have an overnight stay in York in a really nice hotel. There's actually a really nice hotel right next to the Minster. And do some Christmas shopping, you know, late night sort of Christmas shopping, go to the service, have a nice meal, have a nice stay over in a hotel. And I think that would be super lovely because it's where you used to sing, and you used to sing in that service.
Yes, I did.
And I just think that would be a lovely thing because I obviously never saw him, and there's no photos, there's no nothing of you ever doing that.
That's a funny thing, that, and I can't remember if I've told you this before, but we were never allowed to bring home our cassocks and surplices. My mum does have actually some like team photo shots.
Right.
That were done. I mean, it was like it was done at the same time as the football team, right? So when I was at the Minster school, you would get, each form would come and have their photo taken, but properly, not silly poses. Then the football teams and whatever teams, and then the choir would come. So some stood down the front, some stood up at the back. So she does have those.
Right.
So they'll be somewhere in one of her baskets.
God.
That if we fumigate it, you do like it. If we fumigate it, it'll be fine. And to be fair, she's cleaned out a lot, so perhaps the dampness has been assuaged.
I hope she's not watching.
I hope you're not watching, Mum.
He's terrible, isn't he?
I'm very sorry. Should we talk about your green tomato chutney? No, we won't do that.
I don't know what that story is.
Oh.
Was it literally green?
Yeah. It looked
But
like
not
a
with-
jar of snot because it was green tomato chutney.
Oh, so it wasn't mouldy? I
No.
thought you meant it was mouldy.
No.
What's that got to do with damp in a house?
I don't know. Talk about a pivot.
He's so random.
Pivot.
He's the most
Look.
random person you will ever meet. And anyway.
Back to what I was talking about, which was we managed to persuade the school to allow me to bring home my cassock and surplice, to have my pictures taken. We had them taken around the house where I lived at the time, and she took the film to the place to get it developed, and they spoiled it, and all the pictures were ruined.
You're joking.
And they wouldn't let us bring them home again.
Which bit is the surplice? The cassock is the gowny thing. Is that right?
Oh, you see, it's tricky now.
I can't remember.
You would think that the cassock is the coloured thing that goes underneath, and the surplice is the
the
thing
white
that goes is the
thing.
white thing that goes over the top.
Oh, right.
That's what I would
Yeah,
assume.
that sounds right.
But you know, there'll be people
What
out
colour
there
is
who
it?
will red and white
Oh,
with
lovely.
a big
Ruff. With the big ruff. Oh, I'd have loved to have seen you in that.
Although they did change it one year and made it rubbish, but then they swapped back. They changed it to these ones that look like vicar's collars.
Oh, right, yeah.
That looked
I've seen
awful.
those as well.
But then they swapped them back. The problem with the ruffs was they were so highly starched. You know, it made it quite difficult to move your neck around. But yes, I absolutely did used to sing in those services.
Yeah, so
I used to love them.
I would love to do that. I think because growing up, I never really went to anything like that. Well, I didn't. Although I went to a lot of church services, they were just not like that. So I would love to do that. I think it would just be something we'd remember for a long time, and it'd just be just so nice. And it's not a million miles away, you know. York's not far, and it's perfectly doable. But I think it's something that I think even Bryony would enjoy that.
Yeah. The challenge for me is I would find it quite emotional.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I would too. Those kinds of services, I think, are very emotional, I think.
Well, no, if you took me to one in Westminster, I'd stand there, sing the carols and love every minute of it.
But I would find
if you
that
took-
emotional as well, because I
Yeah,
think
the emotion for
beautifully
me-
sung, particularly carols, I think do just touch your emotions, don't they?
I would thoroughly enjoy, if we were to go to Westminster, I would go and I would be able to enjoy it more than going...
I want to go to York then.
That's
I don't want to
fine.
go to
That's fine. It's your proposal. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. What I'm trying to express to you is the hard part for me would be the nostalgia side of it, which I would find difficult. That's your proposal.
Yes.
Okay. So I went first. So you have to vote on mine first.
Right.
And I'd be lying if I said that how you vote is going to sway how I vote. No, it isn't. It's not really. I'm just joking. You're going to vote. Now, don't get mixed up.
Yes.
You're
I
going to
can
do it.
see through the things. I can see through them.
She doesn't want to get it wrong.
Right.
Now, you've got to be sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
Positive.
Yes.
You don't like being cold.
You shouldn't be trying to sway me one way or the other, should you? It's
You don't
my
mind,
decision.
actually. You're pretty good at cold.
I don't mind being cold.
You've got a lovely jumper.
to wear
Come on then, woman.
one-piece ski suit.
Let's see it. Yes. I had to check. Did you notice I had to have a quick look down because I was panicking? I thought she'd voted yes.
Well, we've got to do that, haven't we?
Come on. The Santa trip is on.
Even the one-piece ski suit. I mean, that.
You've got to admit, does that not? You're not messing me, are you?
Does that mean other people have worn it?
Look. I don't think that is an issue.
That's the only thing that bothers me.
I don't think that's an issue.
Right.
I don't think that's like a major issue in this.
Okay.
You know, but genuinely,
yes.
Did what I described sound amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's all do it.
Let's all go.
Right. It's my turn. So, what are you calling your proposal?
Carol at what?
Carol at what?
No, Carol of what was it?
Carol of what? Okay, Carol of what? That's it. Okay, here we go.
No.
Are you ready? Is it vote or is it veto for the Carol of what trip?
Carol's at York.
No, Carol of what trip?
No, I can't think straight.
I do the editing. Carol of what?
Carol's in York.
Yes!
I didn't think you were going to go for
I'll find it hard, I'll be honest. I will find it hard. But, you know, it's probably something that I would be sad not to do. And, you know, I think I would find it hard because I think when you're, you know, when you get older into your life and you can get transported back to a point when you had your whole life ahead of you. And I think just when you think about the things that have happened, I mean, there's lots of good things, but there's also lots of bad things. And that'll be tough, but definitely worth doing because it's like once you've done it, then you could go again and you wouldn't have those issues. It would be the same types of emotions that I felt when we went to see Force Awakens. Because that was all about, you know, it was...
nostalgia.
Well, it was nostalgia, but it was also, you know, as you know, I was concerned, you know, at one point, at my lowest, if I'd get there. It's similar types of nostalgia, but you've got to do it. And it's the Dean Court Hotel, which is just opposite, and it is the most stunning place ever. So, 2 more things for our bucket list.
Excellent.
Come on. So, bucket list, we'll be back, not next episode, but the episode after. And then the episode after that, the episode at the end of January, that's the one where we're going to pick one of the things to do in 2018.
Right.
And I have a feeling that perhaps something you just suggested might go fairly...
Well, maybe not.
No.
We don't know what...
But no, you're right, we don't know what else is coming. But for me, the front runner right now would probably be that.
Because it's the most doable.
It's the one that I would most like to get done.
Oh, right.
So that I could go back again and enjoy it more the second time.
Just want to get it out of the way.
There is an element of that. It's weird emotions, and I'm finding it hard, you know, to sort of get it across. But equally, though, I can feel myself getting emotional about it, which is odd, isn't it?
No, not really, no.
Well, it is.
That's a long time, though.
No, well, I did, but I don't understand why. I don't understand why I'm getting so emotional about it.
Because you're a big wuss.
No, it's not that. It's not that at all. Look, enough of this. I want to find out, Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
I do.
And it is all off your needles.
Yes. Yes.
Everything is.
Yes.
That's perhaps a hint as to the fact that not all the things you see are knitted.
So the first thing, I need to just...
I knit that.
I know, but I need to slide it out of the way. I finished some socks.
Oh, look at the heels.
Contrast heels.
Yes, but I just like it. It looks nice. I like that way it's knit.
I finished the socks for Bryony for Christmas Eve. The Christmas at Grimold Place. Oh, aren't they lovely? They're blocked really lovely. Not a speck of dye in the water. I always think that's even more impressive when it's self-striping.
Yeah.
That there's not, you know, literally the water was clear.
What did you get the colour catchers for?
I bought some colour catchers to use for my 80s socks. Because I was worried that the colours in the, you know, all the different scrappy yarns, that one of them would run. And do you know what? I did put a colour catcher in the water, but do you know what? Didn't run at all.
That's good.
You know, again, nothing at all in the water, so that's just amazing, isn't it? But yeah, blocked brilliantly well.
Beautiful.
London House Yarns, Christmas at Grimold Place.
Absolutely beautiful.
Sparkly goodness. So these will be wrapped up. I've wrapped up yours already and mine. I've wrapped my own up. And these will be going under the tree ready for Christmas Eve.
Yay!
Yay, so Bryony will enjoy those. And I did knit them about 5 rows longer than I normally do for her socks. And she has tried them on because she wanted to. And they're absolutely fine, but there is a bit of wiggle room, which is perfect. So I know that these will fit her for probably, a couple of years. Her feet haven't grown that much, actually, this last year. So even though she's very tall, she's taller than me and I'm 5'6". Her feet are a little bit smaller than mine. I'm a UK 6. So, that's good that she's not going to have really big feet, I think.
What else is off your needles?
What else is off my needles? Well, it is a needle.
Yes.
However, it's not a knitting needle.
Oh.
On Bryony's Christmas list, she asked for a blanket for 2 of her teddies. 2 of her teddies are very close and they always have to be snuggled together. So she's like, oh, can I have a blanket for Big Teddy and Pooh Bear? And I'm like, right. So she added that to the list. So I thought, well, I could buy a little blanket. I could knit one. However, knitting one, even a toy blanket, would probably take a bit of time. So I thought, well, why don't I try and sew one? I haven't sewn in ages. And I'm always
It always causes you pain.
It always causes me pain. And this did cause me pain doing this. I did have leg ache for a couple of days. But it's kind of worth it for me.
For the perfect Christmas gift, it absolutely is. And one of the things...
I'm going to slide it so you don't see it straight away.
For everyone who has seen our advent calendar, you know that we're on the quest for the perfect Christmas. So we've been looking for the perfect Christmas dinner, the perfect Christmas tree, taking you out and about find all those things. One of the things was the perfect Christmas shopping, which of course should lead to the perfect gift. Well, actually, sometimes the perfect gift, in fact, most times, the perfect gift is something...
My laugh is really bizarre at the minute.
Sometimes the perfect gift is something that you've made at home. So we actually filmed an advent calendar video for this.
We did.
And I can't for the life of me remember what day it's going out.
14th.
You genius!
So I made a little quilt and I've never actually made a quilt before. I've made, as I showed you a little sort of quick flash of these, I made these quilted mats, table mats last year. I think it was last year. And these I made with fusible fleece. I didn't use batting. It's fusible fleece and they work perfectly well and they're brilliant. I've got 4 of them. They're all scrappy Christmas patterns. But I've never actually made anything with proper quilt batting. So I thought, well, I'm going to get some. So I got some. I can't remember the name of it, but it was nearly all cotton. I think it was 80-something% cotton and then a little bit of poly something or other. And I thought, well, that'll be fine. It's just for the teddies, isn't it? But actually, it kind of feels pretty much like the fusible fleece feels. There's not a lot of difference in it. And I expected it to be thicker. But anyway, I'll show it to you. Oh, isn't it cute? I used a set of charm squares. Are the 5-inch squares charm squares? I think they are. And it's in this kind of 30s retro patterns. Can you see all the little dogs and little children and then all these just really pretty florals? And then I bordered it with 4 jelly roll strips that I'd got in this lovely pink. I was trying to avoid pink because the teddy bears are both boys, and then I was like, oh, do you know what? I don't think they'll mind. I don't think they'll mind if it's pink. And then I backed it. This was a fat quarter and I just had to trim it a little bit in just this pretty sort of floral. And I was originally going to do a quilt as you go method. I tried that and it was actually aggravating my back to do that because it's a lot of sewing. Even though it's very simple, you have to do lots of quilting lines on each piece that you patch on. And after I'd done a few, and plus I just didn't like the way it was looking, it wasn't very pretty for me. So I thought, right, okay, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to piece together these, how many is the 12? And then I quilted it to the batting. So I just did quilt lines, just 6 of them along here. Sorry, I added this bit first, the borders, and then I attached it to the backing. And then when it came, and then I didn't do binding. I just did right sides together sewed around, left a gap, flipped it, sewed around again. But then obviously the back is kind of flopping around because it's not fully attached. So what I decided to do, I did at first think I'll do stitch in the ditch. I did that at the top here and it was puckering terribly. I haven't got a walking foot for my machine and I'm guessing that was probably the issue. So I pulled that out and what I did was I just did little sort of pretend quilt ties. I just machine stitched little crosses on all of these points and it worked fine. The backing is now attached and everything's hunky-dory. So yeah, and it took me, I thought it'd take me like a morning because I messed up and had to restart it. It took me till about 2 in the afternoon. But still, I couldn't have knitted a toy blanket in that amount of time. I couldn't have crocheted it, and that's a quicker method, isn't it? And I've, come out with something that she can just have forever, can't she? And she could pass it down to her children to play with their toys. And it makes a really good sort of picnic blanket for her toys as well. It's a nice size that she could lay it on the floor and play with it with, her toys as a picnic blanket.
And I finished this. Get ready with your next one.
It's right there.
Excellent. Cool, sorry. I finished this. Yes, it's Colonel Mustard. He's all done and dusted. I'm just doing a jumper.
That rhymed.
Hey, there you go.
Colonel Mustard is all done and dusted.
And I loved every minute of it. And I filmed with Kay a tutorial series on this and we'll be finishing that off in the first week in January as we start our 2018 season of programming.
Aww,
so Colonel Mustard was the business. So thank you for a lovely pen. What else is off your needles?
The last thing is quite a huge thing. And it's actually more huge than I thought it was going to be. Ooh.
Don't even say it.
No.
Just
I nearly said it, but no. I've finished the fluffy cushion cover. Do you know the Bits and Bobs blanket cushion cover that I was knitting? And it wasn't even a mistake. What I did to work out the size was I took the existing cushions that were on the sofa and I laid it on top of my Bits and Bobs blanket and I kind of counted the stitches across and added a couple for seaming. And as I've been measuring it over the cushion, fits perfectly round, wasn't a problem. What happened was I took the actual cushion out of the cover and it kind of expanded like this. They'd obviously used a cushion that is bigger than the cover and they'd just jammed it in there. And it's a feather one, so I think that kind of made it poof out even more. So when I came to sew it together, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this too small? But it was okay because the nature of the fabric is very stretchy. I was lucky. So when I do another one, I'll know that I'm just going to do maybe 5 more stitches and just knit it maybe an inch longer, something like that. But I will show you. I'll pull it without knocking anything. Oh, did you see the halo then? Here it is. Ta-da! Look how big it looks. And honestly, this cushion was not this big, was it? I should have brought the other one down for scale. It's like it's expanded 2 inches. I think this might be a 20. The cushion cover is 18 inches square. This is bigger than that. So there we go, that's one side. And then this is the other. And I added a Hufflepuff stripe because Bryony's a Hufflepuff. And this one sits on her chair. And it's lovely. I mean, I love it. All I did, so I knit a long rectangle basically, that's twice the height of the cushion. And then I mattress seamed down the long sides. Well, no, not down the long sides. You fold it in half basically, seam the sides. Put the cushion in and then seam across the top. So it's not a removable one. I'd need to undo the stitching if I wanted to ever take it off. I don't think, we don't, because our living room is on the first floor, we don't really have food in there or when drinks, it's not normally a bother. We've never, touch wood, spilt anything and neither has Bryony. I don't think it's ever going to be an issue really. So I'm not going to worry about that. So yeah, and it came out lovely. Can you see the fuzz? Let me hold it. Look, can you see the halo? with the mohair. It's just so lovely. So I used lots of my own hand-dyed. I used just lots of colours I thought Bryony would like, because this turned out to be hers. I just love it. It's really nice. So if you've got the bits and bobs pattern already, or, you know, if you fancy knitting a cushion, and the seaming actually is pretty good. That's the top seam there. And then I just used mattress stitch, and it actually was very easy. I'll tell you why it was easy in a sec. But there's the side one. So it's very neat. The reason it was so easy to mattress stitch is because, can you see the kind of V stitches that run down? You can just use these V stitches as your guide, you know, one on either side. You know, you go through that one, through that one, through that one, through that one. It was the easiest thing in the world. And it matched up perfectly. There was no... You sometimes can end up like that, can't you, when you're doing mattress stitch? It was just perfect. So, love it. And I've got another one of these on the go that's not fluffy, if you remember. It's a blue sort of colour. And now I've done this one, and I've looked at the other one. I think that other one's a bit ugly. But that's probably just me, so I don't know. I might do another fluffy one. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Cool.
There we go.
Cool.
Beautiful. Oh, careful. Oh.
It's time for the return of Desert Island Discs. Yes, it's the Christmas special, and it's time for Kay and I to select our two. We can only bring two to our desert island.
2 each.
Yes. 2, yeah, because you select 2 and I select 2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was just making absolutely sure.
Okay, so it's 2 Christmas songs. So what are we going to pick? What are our 2 most favourite songs? Now, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
You go first, 'cause
cool.
I've been talking.
Okay, so the way I've approached this is I thought that I would like something from when I was young, and also something from my family growing up, but then also something from our family growing up. Okay. So, because there's so many, isn't there? There's so many, you know. I love Stevie Wonder, really any Stevie Wonder Christmas song I always really enjoy, but I love Stevie Wonder, the Christmas song. I also really love Stevie Wonder, What Christmas Means to Me. And a lot of that Motown stuff I really, really love. I love the Jackson 5 Christmas songs, and I love Diana Ross and the Supremes' Little Christmas Tree. And I mean, the list just goes on and on, so it's really difficult to hone it down.
It is.
But there was this one song on this album that my brother bought one Christmas way back in the 80s, and we listened to it every year, and we put the Christmas tree up. And about, when did I try and put that album back together? Probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And this was a compilation that was released in the 80s, and it wasn't something that was, you know, kept fresh. You know, it was done in the 80s and then left, and, you know, not released on CD, not released on digital. So, I mean, it took me ages to nail down what all the songs were. And then this one particular song, the only place I could find in the world, it wasn't on Amazon, wasn't in any of the stores in this country, you know, physical stores or online, but I found it in a little record shop in New York.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is when the internet is wonderful. I was able to go onto this independent record shop, order this CD, and unfortunately it didn't come in time for Christmas that year, but it did come in time for Christmas the year after.
Yeah.
The
And
album.
it was really cheap, wasn't it?
Yeah, really, really cheap. The album was by a guy called Marty Robbins, who I'm sure loads of you will recognise that name. He was a singer after the war. I think he got signed to Columbia Records in the early 50s. And he was a singer, but also, unbelievably, he was a NASCAR driver.
Oh, right.
So he was a race car driver as well.
That's the ones where they go around the track.
Yeah. That's right. And the song, which I love, and as soon as I hear this song, it makes me smile, it makes me happy, it makes me think of being young and putting up Christmas decorations and feeling festive, is Christmas Kisses.
Oh, right.
I absolutely love
I didn't know
song.
that song until...
No, it's just
you
a really
introduced me to it.
happy Christmas song. You can find it on YouTube, so I will put a link in the show notes. But that, for me, sums up my childhood Christmas. What about you, Kay?
Well, I don't know whether this first one, it doesn't sum up my
No, that was just me.
childhood Christmases. No, I'm just trying to sort of make a comparison, but there isn't really a comparison. My choices are always not quite so, I mean, that's not highbrow, but...
Profound.
Intelligent, maybe. I don't know.
No.
I like a mixture of Christmas songs. I like traditional carols. I love traditional carols. They're probably my favourite. But then I do love Christmas pop songs, I've got to say.
You can take carols with you.
Yeah, I've not done the second one yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I've preempted.
I think the second one's a carol.
Well, you should know.
Well, I don't know. So yeah, I do love Christmas pop songs. They're just fun, aren't they? And why would you not love a Christmas pop song? And I know we hear them a lot around this time of year, but we never hear them at other times of year, do we? So I always look forward to playing the Christmas songs that you always listen to. This particular song, I loved it when it came out in the 80s, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Mm.
And I don't know how many times I've watched the video, I don't know how many times I've listened to the song. And it's even more kind of profound now, I think. And you'll realise why when I tell you who it is. But it's Last Christmas. It's Wham. I mean, it's George Michael. And I had to choose this because it's just, even though actually the lyrics are quite sad.
Yes.
They are, aren't they? I never really, and I said this to Dan, I never really think about what the lyrics mean. If I like the song, I'll just sing along to it, and I'm not really thinking about what the lyrics mean. You always do.
Yeah.
Because you analyse songs.
Mm.
But, you know, it's Last Christmas. If you don't like Last Christmas, everyone's different, I know, but why would you not?
Yeah.
It's George Michael. I mean, I loved George Michael. It's just such a tragic loss, really, of a talent.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he was amazing. His voice was amazing. You know.
So many great songs. Freedom, 90.
Yeah.
Faith.
So yes, Wham! Last Christmas.
It's definitely a song. It's not one of my favourites at all, but Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without it. And I think that's the ultimate testament to any song. If you write a song that becomes part of the fabric of Christmas, you've absolutely nailed it. Now, my second song, I had to check what my second song was, because it's that tricky. Okay, it's that tricky. Now, I mentioned Saviour's Day earlier on in the...
Oh, yeah, you like that.
Yeah, now it didn't go on the list, and I said that it wasn't going on the list because I was saving it up for the Christmas ones.
Right.
Because I spoke a little bit about the video. Well, I'm not putting
Changed your mind.
I'm not putting it on the list. Because...
Cliff.
I mean, it's tricky because I love Saviour's Day. Saviour's Day makes me happy, and it makes me dance.
That's never a good thing.
Makes me waltz around the room. I love that song so much. But there is another song that is of Christmas present. And, I love that. Do you like that? Christmas present.
Makes me think of the Muppets.
I know. And, you know, I think it's so important, isn't it, to embrace the past, but also to embrace the new. And when we heard this album a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, it was like, oh my goodness, this is the best Christmas album that I've heard in years.
Oh, I know.
And the album is by Seth MacFarlane, and it's called Holiday for Swing, and every song on it is superb.
Brilliant. He's got an amazing voice.
He has an amazing voice, really brilliant. You know, he's brought back, I love old swing. I love Frank, and I love, you know, all the old swing singers, absolutely adore them. Paul Anka, and, you know, I listen to all that stuff all the time. And I think when someone current helps the younger generation, because Bryony loves the songs on that album.
She does, yeah.
When someone current is helping the younger generation engage with the past like that, that is something to be championed and, you know, embraced. And the song I picked is I'll Be Home for Christmas. And it's a slow one. And he sings it
He is amazing.
beautifully.
I think he blows Michael Bublé out of the water.
Yeah, Michael Bublé is like a pop swing singer.
Yeah, he
Seth
is.
MacFarlane is an old-fashioned crooner.
I'm not a fan of the Bublé.
No, but you know, again, he's good because Bublé pulls people in to that genre, and that's a good thing. If that's your stepping stone into listening to other tunes like that, and he's a lovely guy.
Yeah,
it's just a shame that he approaches the singing of it in the way that he does. I much prefer the proper.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Sinatra set the standard for singing swing, and for me, all the guys that nail it who followed are the ones who follow the path that he set out. So it's I'll Be Home for Christmas off the Holiday for Swing album by Seth MacFarlane. And that's my top 10 completed. How's Kay going to complete her top 10?
Well, I just need to check with you. Is it O?
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know if it was of.
Well, some people will say that.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, you say the second one.
Right.
Just say it.
My second song is a carol. It is a carol.
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned... As we established on the podcast, because we spoke about this song, you know, and the fact that we loved it, on a previous Christmas
Oh,
episode.
did you?
Yeah.
Right, okay. And I don't think I knew what this song was, and I had to ask you, didn't I? We'd heard it on a film.
John Williams did an arrangement of it for Home Alone.
Yes.
And it's an ancient rhythm that's been around for hundreds of years.
Right.
I think it's from Scandinavian parts of the world or something or other.
Well, that's where I heard it, and I'd never really knew what it was, and then I asked Dan what it was one year, and I've just loved it ever since. And it's Carol O'Bells.
Call it Carol of Bells.
Carol of Bells by...
Well, it's the arrangement is by John Williams.
Right.
Whoever wrote it originally, I've no idea.
It's ancient.
Well, it's old.
So it's the one, like Dan said, it's the one that's on Home Alone.
Me.
That one, not the Muppets version.
But Muppets did do a version, which is what I was just singing.
I just think it's such a beautiful piece of music. Oh, I just love it, and every time I see that scene on Home Alone, it just makes me feel all tingly.
Yeah.
I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So that would be my second one.
It is.
Bells.
It is also used in the West Wing. There's a carol outside. There's a carol. There is a choir outside.
Yes. I know
Josh
the scene.
and Donna are coming out.
Yeah.
And
I know the scene.
they're singing Carol of Bells.
Right.
Yeah. But John Williams just did the most amazing arrangement of that song for Home Alone, and that soundtrack actually is really good. And we've got that.
Really good.
We've got that.
We've got the soundtrack.
We must put it on.
It is really good.
Yeah. So that completes our Desert Island Discs. We have our complete list of 10 songs, so we can now go to our desert island. I think we'd be...
Let's go.
Yes, yeah, let's go.
My mum said she's been watching this programme on a morning, and I must find out what channel it's on to see if I can watch it. It's called Shetland, I think. And it's like a programme about people who live on the Shetland Islands.
All right.
And every morning when I've been talking to her, she's like, I'm watching that Shetland programme again, and I want to move there. And I said, well, I'll go with you, Mum. And she went, shall we all go?
Yeah.
Now, she says that to me every time I speak to her now, because she wants to move to Shetland. So we're all going with my mum to the Shetland Islands.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. Yeah. It's the Endy Bits! Oh.
No, because we've got...
Many announcements.
Oh, I really hope you've waited till the Endy Bits, because we've got 2 really exciting knit-alongs starting in January.
Yes, the fog along may be coming to an end, and also the toy along may be coming to an end. But 2018 is going to be our biggest year yet because the fog along was actually the warm-up event for something even more exciting.
Brilliant.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, you came up with just the best idea though for a knit along, didn't you? Go on.
Yeah, which one are we talking about now?
Well, the first one.
This one.
So there's 2 knit alongs starting.
Yeah.
There's the patrons only knit along, which will run all year, which we'll talk about in a minute.
So this is what's replacing the fog run that we did this year.
Yes.
Yep.
But what we'll talk about first is the one that's open to everyone. And how long is this one running for, first of all?
2 months, I think, but I'm happy to extend it if once we get into it, people want it to go a bit longer.
Right.
So we're going to start on the 1st of January, fresh new start, new projects only, no whips. We don't want any languishing...
No.
2017 whips. We want brand new projects, and there's a reason it's got to be a brand new project.
What is the point of this knit along, Kate?
The point of this knit along is, and I thought about this whilst I was pulling out that Dancing Dog Dyeworks yarn. Do you know how I was talking about using these yarns that we hoard and are precious to us? And I thought, and I felt so good doing that I thought, why don't we do a knit along where we use those precious skeins? So it could be that you make a bigger project, but it includes a precious skein, or it's just, a 1 skein project. That's entirely up to you, but I want you to use those yarns that you've been hoarding and you're like, like your little babies, because we bought...
Life's too short.
Yes. Let's knit them.
Like the socks, the Dyeworks socks.
Yeah.
How much joy is that bringing Bryony, and it has done me and you?
Let's knit these things, let's not hoard anymore. Let's just get those lovely skeins of yarn out and let's knit them. So what are we going to call this knit along?
What are we going to call it?
What are we going to call it?
Well, I don't know. It's your knit along.
What I've called it is the Never Gonna Knit You Up knit along.
Like the Rick Astley song.
What song?
You know the Rick Astley song?
Is there a song?
Never Gonna Give You Up.
I don't know it.
You don't know it?
No.
How do you not know that?
I don't know it.
So, I'm going to have to sing it for you, aren't I?
Are you?
Oh, no.
This is going to be scary.
Well, look, I need a band, and the band is all me as well, actually, so forgive me for this.
How long have you been working on this?
Well, sort of when you when you told me about the knit along. So I will tell you what the song is, Kay. Are you ready?
Yes.
We're no strangers to gloves. You know the pattern, and so do I. Double knitting's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. I wanna make you understand. Never gonna knit you up, never gonna cast you on, never gonna bind you off and wash you, never gonna block you dry, never gonna hang you high, never gonna wear you to my knit group. Do you know it?
Yeah, I know it, yeah. That's hilarious.
It's a Christmas special. There's got to be singing on a Christmas special.
Oh my gosh, that's so hilarious. Oh well done you.
That is the first time I've sung in public, solo, since I was about 13 or maybe even 12.
I'm going to try not to laugh too much because it'll
So
bring on
this
a
is a
coffee
knit along,
fit.
so epic, it has its own song.
Has its own song. How fun is this? Never going to knit you up. Oh my goodness. January and February. So you can start digging out. This is the thing I thought we'll tell you now because you've got a couple of weeks to go through your stash and decide which ones you're going to knit. You can do multiple entries. So, you know, if you've got 3 skeins of yarn, you want to knit 3 different projects, then you can enter 3 times. So we'll have prizes, obviously, and we'll let you know what they're going to be as we sort of get into it.
Cool.
So
that
yeah,
is-
I'll open a chatter thread on Ravelry. Let's open a chatter thread and just get talking about, you know, tell us what projects you're going to work on, what skeins of yarn you've been hoarding, and just let's get excited about it.
And if you like-
it's just fun. It's just
Yeah,
fun,
because
everyone.
it is. And if you like the song, then let me know and I'll write a second verse, because there is 2 verses. But we've got to sing it together. And go on.
I think I've just got a feeling everybody's rewinding that now so that they can sing along to it.
Did he really just do that? That's why I put the words up on the screen. And the cool,
Oh, you put the words
I
up?
did. The cool thing is about that song is, you know the line that says double knitting's what I'm thinking of? You can change that to whatever you like. It could be knitting socks is what I'm thinking of, or knitting lace is what I'm thinking of. So you can change it. And also, you wouldn't get this from any other guy. Just change it to gal, if you're a gal. Sorted.
Yeah.
It's our anthem for 2018. So Never Gonna Knit You Up starts on January the 1st. Yes,
Brilliant.
It's getting to the end of the year, and yes, after Christmas there's always that lull, but there's no need for that lull.
No.
Because already we have something unbelievable to look forward to. But
Yeah.
that's just the start of it.
Oh,
Because,
the other knit along that we're going to be running all through next year.
yes,
So this is taking the place, as we said, of the fog along.
yes,
So this is our patron-only year-long knit-along.
yes.
And this knit-along is going to be called the Climb Every Mountain knit-along.
No.
No, we're not going to sing that one. We're really not.
Dream that is
Oh, you
here.
couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
I have to put on a wimple.
You do. God, Will's not ready for that. So yeah, it's going to be a year-long knit-along, again, starting on the 1st of January.
This is epic.
What an exciting...
What do they have to do?
Right, so the aim is, what we're going to do is kind of in a similar vein to the fog-along, where we allocate, with the fog-along we allocated a certain number of miles per type of project. So for example, a sweater was 80 miles. This will be similar in that you can knit anything you like, and so each different type of item will be allocated a certain number of feet climbing up the mountain, and the mountain in question is of course Mount Everest.
And what happens if we climb one mountain, Kay?
If we get to the top of Mount Everest, which is 29,029 feet high, if we get to the top of that mountain, we're going to move on to another mountain.
Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
K2, baby.
K2.
Yes. K2.
Together. So hence the Climb Every Mountain. So it's not, let's just see how many mountains we can get up. Now,
What we're going to do is we've used the fog along as a baseline.
Yeah.
Now we know how much people have got through this year.
Which is way more than we ever expected.
Yes, we can now adjust things accordingly so that this becomes the challenge, which the fog along never really was. There was, once we got around the world, it was really difficult for us to allocate miles effectively because we just didn't know how many people were going to get involved and how many people were going to knit. Now that we know, now that we have a baseline, this will be a challenge. Yeah. But there's more.
There's more.
Because what do they have? Well, they don't have to.
Well, they don't, right. You don't have to do this.
So you can join in with the Climb Every Mountain. You can knit whatever you like. Yeah. You can claim your miles. And the beauty of this one is I can plot us going up the mountain.
Yeah, so because we know there's base camp on Everest and then there's 4 camps. Is that right? I wrote it down. Yeah. Yes. There's base camp and then camps 1, 2, 3, 4 and then the summit.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to track.
So I'll be able to show you on every pop, I'll be able to put up on the Patreon podcast, I'll put up exactly where we're at, and it'll be much more tangible. You'll be able to see how well you're doing. Yeah. So we are so excited about this.
We're climbing a mountain, everybody.
This is what gets really exciting though.
But what you can do, we thought, as an extra motivation and an extra kind of challenge, because climbing a mountain is, let's face it, a challenge. You'll all have your rucksacks, obviously.
Because we're climbing a mountain.
Because you're climbing a mountain. You need all your supplies in your rucksack.
But there's nothing in there, Kate. What are we going to do?
Well, if you choose to do this, you can knit certain items to fill your rucksack. So you would need to knit a hat, a pair of gloves or mittens, a pair of socks, a garment of some sort, so jumper, cardigan, and some kind of shawl or cowl or scarf. So if you knit those items...
if I knit all those things?
If you knit all those things and fill your rucksack by the time you get to the top, so when you've got to the when we've got to the top as a team and you've filled your rucksack, then you will be entered into a special draw. So, there'll be prizes along the way like we've done for the fog along, but for you people who fill your rucksack, you will go into a special draw and I'm going to dye up 3 skeins of yarn, so like a shawl kit if you like. You can tell me what your favourite colour is and I will theme it around that for you and dye up 3 skeins of yarn for you to knit, whatever you like. But I know that 3 colour shawls are very popular, or you can use it for whatever you want.
Cool! Oh my goodness!
So fill your rucksack, people.
And ladies and gentlemen, runners and walkers, yes, we are also involved. And how are we involved? This year, this is not a race. This is about getting up and down mountains. So runners and walkers, this year, your miles will become feet. And we will try and climb these mountains as well. And what's different on last year is the way that we tracked it last year, it was quite challenging because there was lots of different teams. This year, there will be 2 teams. We're one big team, but there'll be 2 groups within that team. There will be a running group and there'll be a walking group. So you'll be able to see within that group, you'll be able to see how much you've done, where you are on the leaderboard, and people have found that really challenging and really fun. So there'll be a group with all runners and a group with all walkers. So walkers this year, fog along year, you had to log things as runs, even when they were walks, because the way we had to track it. This year, you can just log it as walks. And someone's actually already messaged me and said, can I be in both groups? Can I be in the running group and the walking group? Well, of course you can, because we're just one big team.
And you can be in a knitting group as well, obviously.
Yeah. Although I know people this year who are knitters who deliberately didn't put anything into the fog along knitting because they wanted the running team to win. And they were runners, by the way.
That's very sneaky,
They were runners.
isn't it?
I thought that was cool, though. Yeah. That was cool. So, 2 amazing Cals.
I think so.
One with its own theme song, and with a great, just that whole idea, just from what you said before, you showed that down so Dyeworks yarn. Exactly right. And then, no more fog along, climb every mountain, baby.
Climb every mountain. How many mountains will we get up?
Neil, the gold patron giveaway, as we mentioned on the last Patreon podcast, gold patron giveaway, this month will be done on our Christmas message, which is coming out on the 24th of December. And remember, if you're a bronze patron, that is also accessible to you. And 24th of December, that message, that video message, when it gets posted, will also have the All Is Calm socks on it.
Yes.
Yes, as our Christmas gift to all our patrons. Yep. Also, we are, of course, back in 2 weeks for our seasonal special with our Knit or Forfeit, making a return for one night only. Do not miss that. You should wear your outfit that Remember Christmas outfit.
Oh, don't have to.
Oh, well, we'll get something new then.
It's past Christmas then, though, isn't it?
Okay, well, we need to get something new then. We will be wearing something fun. Put it that way.
We will be wearing clothes.
So do not miss our episode coming out on the 29th of December. It's going to be a really special, fun end to the year. And then getting ready to kick into January and the start of all these amazing cows. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing Christmas day.
Thanks, everyone. I survived.
Have the most amazing Christmas day. Patrons, we've got, obviously, fun and games running right the way up until December the 24th with the Advent calendar. We've then got Kay's Top 5 Yarns out on the 26th, and her sock review out on the 28th, and then the Knit or Forfeit special episode for everyone out on the 29th. It's all fun and games. So Don't feel sad when the Advent calendar finishes, because we're not going anywhere. We've still got lots and lots coming your way. So, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a fantastic time.
Yes. And we
Eat, drink and be merry, as they say.
And we will see you before New Year, which is even more exciting, because in previous years that hasn't been the case.
No, that's right.
So we will see you on the 29th.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you
everyone.
then. Bye.
Who's it sitting and knitting? It's Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and get yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery